I came to Kashipur yesterday after a 6-hour road trip, and I came from Dehradun. Around 8 o'clock is when I checked into my hotel. तो रात में मैं होटल गया, मेरी इच्छा नहीं हो रही थी कि मैं नीचे जाकर के रेस्टोरेंट में खाना खाऊं, तो मैंने रूम सर्विस में ऑर्डर किया। अब मैंने रूम सर्विस में ऑर्डर कर दिया। 10-15 मिनट के बाद में क्या हुआ कि जो है वो उसकी घंटी बजी रूम की, और जब रूम की घंटी बजी, नो दैट वाज एक्सीडेंटल, आई डिडंट मीन टू डू दैट। सो एनीवे द बेल रैंग and obviously somebody walked in, and he walked in, with what I had ordered, and I'll show you his photograph. So this is the picture, and this is the young man who came to serve me my room service. One flick of the eye and I knew कि ये मेरा उत्तराखंडी भाई है। I asked him, नाम क्या है आपका? He said, मान सिंह। मैंने कहा कहाँ के रहने वाले हो? पौड़ी का। मैं बोला नहीं उस समय, मुझे बड़ी खुशी हुई क्योंकि मैं खुद पौड़ी का रहने वाला हूँ। घर में कौन कौन है? घर में पिताजी हैं, माँ है, एक भाई है। पिताजी क्या करते हैं? पिताजी बेरोजगार है। पिताजी की आयु कितनी है? पिताजी की आयु 45 है। भाई क्या करता है? भाई की आयु 30 है, भाई भी बेरोजगार है। घर में आर्थिक तंगी है, घर में पैसा नहीं है। मैंने कहा आपने 12वीं कब पास करी? उसने कहा मैंने 19 साल की उम्र में 12वीं पास करी। 12वीं पास करने के बाद में क्या किया? मैं फौज में जाना चाहता था। क्या हुआ? फौज में इसलिए नहीं जा पाया क्योंकि मैं अपना पहला इम्तिहान फेल कर गया। यहां कैसे पहुंचे? यहां इसलिए पहुंचा कि मेरे गांव का एक लड़का वीरेंद्र, जो कि मेरा दोस्त है, वो इसी होटल में काम करता है। मुझे कितने साल हो गए आपको यहां काम करते हुए? उसने कहा मेरे को 2 साल हो गए। कितना पैसा कमाते हो? 7-8 हज़ार रुपया कमाता हूं। टिप में कितने कमाते हो? 2,000 रुपये और कमाता हूं। पैसे का क्या करते हो? मैं पैसे को अपने गांव में भेजता हूं। मेरा अगला सवाल, मैंने कहा कि आपका दिल क्या चाहता है, आप क्या करना चाहते हो? तो जवाब मिला कि सर, अगर मुझे कोई गांव में नौकरी मिल जाती तो मैं अपने गांव में रहना चाहता हूं। मैंने कहा किस किस्म की नौकरी? उसने कहा सरकारी नौकरी। मैंने कहा भाई सरकारी नौकरी तो मिलेगी नहीं, और कौन सी नौकरी? उसने कहा अगर मुझे कोई प्राइवेट सेक्टर की नौकरी अपने गांव में मिल जाए। मैंने कहा प्राइवेट सेक्टर तो है नहीं वहां पर, और क्या करोगे? कहता सर हम क्या करेंगे, हमारे तो इलाके में, हमारे क्षेत्र में आज तक विकास नहीं हुआ। It's a very, very simple story. It's an everyday story, and this is something which happened with me last night. And as I said, this is the young 25-year-old Man Singh who came to serve me food yesterday. And my talk today, my TED talk here today, is actually on Man Singh and the Man Singhs of not only Uttarakhand, but the Man Singhs of the mountain states of our country. And Man Singh again is a typical example or a typical case of what we call distress migration. Migration 2 किस्म का होता है। एक माइग्रेशन वो होता है जहां पर परिस्थितियां ऐसी होती हैं जिसके कारण आदमी को माइग्रेट करना पड़ता है। तो आज जो है हम इसी के बारे में थोड़ी आपसे बात करेंगे, और खासकर जो उत्तराखंड की अगर हम बात करें, उत्तराखंड में तो पलायन और माइग्रेशन इज अ वेरी वेरी सेंसिटिव इशू। इट्स अ वेरी वेरी इमोटिव इशू. It is something, in fact, I think most of you here would know that Uttarakhand was formed 18 years ago, and when Uttarakhand was created, there were a lot of aspirations. Ambitions were running really very, very high. A lot of people thought that a lot of great things are going to happen. Anyway, that's another story altogether. But the short point that I want to make is that the issue of migration or the issue of palayan is a highly emotive issue. A large number of narratives, a large number of discourses are centered around the issue of palayan or migration in Uttarakhand. अब अगर हमको माइग्रेशन को समझना है तो थोड़ा सा, मैं सॉरी थोड़ा आपको बोर जरूर करूंगा, but I think data is very very important that we talk in terms a little bit data. And before we go into Uttarakhand, let's look a little bit at a national level. What's really happening in the country? So if you look at the census from 2001 to 2011, the population in India went up by 18%. The population in Uttarakhand at the same time went up by 19%. So Uttarakhand, I'm sure that you know, is largely mountain, and then you have the plain areas. So the population in the plain areas of the state went up by 30%, whereas the population in the mountain areas only went up by 12%. And two specific districts, one is Pauri and Almora, there the population actually reduced, and you will not believe it, the population reduced by 1 to 1.5%. An absolute decline in population numbers from 2001 to 2011. A clear-cut signal that when the rest of the country is growing by 18%, here are two districts, where the population is going behind. So this is a little bit the national context. What happens in Uttarakhand now? What happened in Uttarakhand about a year and a half ago was that the government of Uttarakhand set up what is called or what is known as a migration commission. एक पलायन आयोग का गठन हमारी राज्य सरकार ने किया. And the Palayan Ayog is a fairly, sincere group of people. They went ahead and they, we have almost 8,000 odd, Gram Panchayats in Uttarakhand. So the whole team, they went around to Gram Panchayat and they took out a lot of data. Now, what are these big numbers? So the big numbers from the Palayan Ayog tell us that a total of 5 lakh people, 5 lakh लोगों ने उत्तराखंड में पिछले 10 साल में पलायन किया है. And they broke it down further also. So I'm not going to be super exact, but I just want to sort of paint the picture for you. So out of these 5 lakh people, 4 lakh are what the Palayan Ayog calls as semi-migrants. Semi-migrants are those people who once in a while come back, their roots are still attached to the village. Whereas 1 lakh people are those people who have left their villages not to come back to their village. 5 lakh लोग चले गए. अब इसमें एक सेट है, एक ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल है, वो ये कहता है यार, what is the big deal? If 5 lakh people have gone, the population of Uttarakhand is 1 crore. What's the big deal if 5 lakh people have gone in 10 years? Why the hell are you making such a big fuss and hue about it? भाई 5 लाख क्या होता है? 5 लाख तो 138 लोग होते हैं एक दिन में. If you sort of break it down, 138 people every day leaving the state. Is that really a big deal? So that's one way to look at it. But there's another way. And for me, I subscribe to that theory. And that theory is a theory of haunted ghost villages. I'm sure many of you have seen those pictures of these haunting ghost villages, abandoned homes. And just to throw a number at you, the census of 2011 told us that more than 1,000 villages in Uttarakhand were what are termed as uninhabited or ghost villages. Unfortunately and tragically, in the last 7-8 years, that tally has increased. So from 1,000 villages, we now have 1,800 villages in Uttarakhand, which are termed as ghost villages. It's a scary number. There are many other villages जहाँ पर 5 लोग, 10 लोग, 15 लोग, 20 लोग, 50 लोग रहते हैं. So people live in single-digit populations. So this is, as I said, this is the narrative, as far as I am concerned, कि यार ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये एक प्रॉब्लम है, हमको इस प्रॉब्लम का कोई ना कोई सोल्यूशन ज़रूर निकालना है. इसके बहुत सारी चीज़ें, इसके कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हैं. तो खैर ये तो हो गया. हाँ, दैट्स वन एग्जाम्पल. You can see an example here, and you can see a picture. I hope you see it there on your screen. That is an example, of what you call a ghost village, a haunted home, a home which is locked forever. Anyway, this is what is happening in Uttarakhand. What's happening in India? So, my sort of personal belief is I look at 3 big trends. 3 big things are happening in our country. And I think this might be sort of interesting and important for, the young people who are sitting here. Because the way I'm really glad that I'm here, because I'm getting to talk about a subject which I think is very, very vital. And why I like this is because you guys who are, perhaps your average age is about 23, 25, you have 40, 50 years of good, solid work life ahead of you. 3 big things are happening in India. A is what I call rapid surging urbanization. Today, in our country, out of 10 people, 3 people live in cities, 7 people live in the villages. In the next 30 years, 5 people will be living in cities and 5 people will be living in the villages. All the action in our country is all the action is happening in the cities in our country. Cities are aspirational, cities are economic drivers of prosperity, cities are where entrepreneurship happens, cities are where jobs are created, cities are where development takes place, which is fine. But when you put so much of focus on the city, what is happening to our village? So of course, I don't know, you don't know what's going to happen 20, 30 years down the line. but it is clearly a matter of concern, this whole rapid surging urbanization. The second thing, which is more sort of Uttarakhand specific, but since we are on that subject, is what I call the political weakening of the mountains of this mountain state. And what do I really mean by that? So there is something known as a delimitation commission. In the history of the country, there have been 4 delimitation commissions. So if I talk about the Legislative Assembly of Uttarakhand, we have 70 MLAs in the state. When the state was carved in the year 2000, there were 40 MLAs who came from the mountain areas and 30 came from the plain areas. So this was the power equation or the political equation. After the fourth delimitation commission of 2002, there was a change. So the 40 seats of the mountains became 34 and the 30 seats of the plain became 36. तो अब 34-40 से तो 34 पे आ गए और ये वाली बढ़ गई. तो आज की तारीख में जो मैदान के इलाके हैं उनकी आवाज़ हमारी विधानसभा में ज़्यादा मजबूत है. The next delimitation commission is going to happen in 2026. The election which will take place 15-20 years from now, the political voice of the mountains, and this is ये तो होके ही रहेगा क्योंकि ये तो संवैधानिक है. This is constitutional. So this, I think, is going to be a next one big trend, which is going to affect Uttarakhand. So one was urbanization, the second one is this delimitation. But the third thing, and I think here is one ray of hope, and that ray of hope is connectivity. I don't know if you read or if you heard, just 2 days ago, today is the 19th of January, 17th of January was a landmark day in the history of Uttarakhand. And you might wonder and ask me, Anoop, ऐसा क्या हुआ 17 तारीख को? I have traveled often to Pithoragarh from Dehradun, and it is a back-breaking journey. If you ever get to travel to Pithoragarh by road, then you know how far it is, even from Kashipur here. Imagine coming from Dehradun all the way, and people like us get to travel in comfortable cars. Still Pithoragarh is, like way beyond. And this flight started from Dehradun to Pithoragarh on the 17th of January. It's a 9-seater aircraft. It takes 50 minutes, and 50 minutes bingo, you are in Pithoragarh. Another big thing which is happening in Uttarakhand is the Char Dham all-weather road. Perhaps you read about that here. So with improved connectivity, and then this Rishikesh-Karan-Prayag rail line, which is also going to come by 2025. So I think it's clear that we have 2 sort of, areas of concern. One was the urbanization, and the second one was this political weakening of the mountains. But on a connectivity side, what we see, the possibility that we are able to sort of foresee along, with this Char Dham and stuff like that, I think that is going to open up windows of opportunities which could perhaps arrest this menace of migration, or menace of rather distress migration. I'll just be silent for maybe 10 seconds, and I want you to have a look at this. Just look at this photograph and absorb whatever comes to your mind. So this is a photograph clicked by I clicked this photograph. I was coming down from a place called Chakrata, and I was returning back to Dehradun. And for me, this is my last slide here. I see a lot of hope in this photograph. वो कहते हैं ना कि एक तस्वीर में 1000 शब्द जो होते हैं, picture is worth 1,000 words. So I think this picture says a lot to us. This picture tells us about the enormous possibilities that this fantastic state of Uttarakhand has to offer to its people. I think this picture tells us the kind of possibilities that people like Man Singh, because let us not forget Man Singh, that is where we began this presentation. And in this photograph and in this picture, I see possibilities of nature-based tourism. I see possibilities of eco-based tourism. I see enormous possibilities to brand the state, to market the space. And this is where, this is a little bit coming from my heart and coming to the students of IIM Kashipur here. That could you guys come up with something creative for this state? And not only Uttarakhand. I think today I speak not only for Uttarakhand, but I speak for Jammu and Kashmir. I speak for Himachal Pradesh. I speak for Uttarakhand. I speak for Mizoram. I speak for Manipur. I speak for Meghalaya. I speak for Arunachal Pradesh. I speak for Tripura. I speak for Sikkim. And I speak for Nagaland. And I speak for the hill districts of Assam and for the hill districts of West Bengal. what could you guys do? Is there an entrepreneurial opportunity here? And believe me, I'm an observer of the state of Uttarakhand. I follow the issues very closely. I do not think that economic progress, economic justice, environmental justice, social justice, government cannot deliver. It has to be on the bedrock of private enterprise. And who better than you guys here in this hall, 25-year-old people who have another 40, 50 solid years ahead of you. Could you, for instance, just to throw one idea at you, could a group of you come up with something like an OYO of homestays? We do not have any OYO for homestays. And there are hundreds of other possibilities. There are horticulture possibilities and this and that, and we will not go into that. But purely, another very important thing when we look at this picture, of course we see possibilities, but I think we also need to be cautious. I think we also need to be careful that let not rampant tourism destroy the fragility of these beautiful mountains. So I think it's a very delicate, it's a very fine sort of balance, How do we grow? But we grow in a sensitive way. We grow in a caring way. We grow in a humane way. So I think I've made my point. I just, and again, I say this, I see, some 50 odd seconds are left here. And I really want to say this with a lot of humility, and I, want to keep my feet are on the ground. I want to look deep down, but I want to say this with humility, and I want to say this again with concern and with care, that for whatever little bit it means, if I could dedicate this presentation to the Mansings of Uttarakhand, I think justice would have been delivered. Thank you so much for listening to me. I see my friend Joe here smiling. We are neighbors, so I just want to wish you great luck.